around 8 p.m. in a little church. There was a sermon being held. And the priest wanted to do it in a very, very quiet way. And in the congregation was a little girl and her mother. And the little girl's name was Amy. After the sermon was delivered, the priest stopped and he said, I want you all to understand the meaning of this sermon because I preach every Sunday, but I don't see this really happening. I want you not to judge people. I want you to look inside and not outside. And he gave some real key messages to the congregation. And after that, a boy by the name of Gary stood up and sang a beautiful song. And the congregation just felt that it was such a lovely day. And as the people filed out of the church, Amy held her mother's arm and walked down to the front of the church. And she said to the boy, Gary, who sang the song, she said, if you're not too tired, can I have a minute, please? And he said, sure, little one. Whatever you need, just go ahead. And she said, I just wanted to say to you that when you were singing, I saw goodness in your heart. And he said, oh, that's very sweet. Nobody's ever told me that before. Thank you so much. And he gave her a little brush on her hair. And she went off home. And the next morning, her dad was getting ready to go to work. And her dad was a truck driver. He used to drive these huge trucks. And she caught her dad's hand and she said, Dad, when you're driving today, just keep your radio on. And her dad said, all right. Well, it's always on anyway. I mean, I got nothing better to do except to listen, but all right. And he gave her a pat on the cheek and walked off. And as her dad was driving, a little boy's voice came in on the radio. And he said, hey, trucker, is anyone out there? And Amy's dad stopped for a minute and said, hey, I am here. Speak up, little one. And he said, I'm Henry. My mom says not to bother you. But you know what? I'm not good at very much in the day because I'm crippled. And I can't walk. So Amy's dad said, oh, that's okay. I have all the time in the world, so you can chat with me. And so they chatted about all kinds of things. And then he said, my dad was a trucker too, you know. So I love chatting to truckers like you. But my dad said to us that one day he's going to take my mom and myself for a long drive. But last Christmas, he was caught in the blinding snow and we lost him. So my mom has to go to work every day. But she says, don't worry, we'll be fine, we'll be all right, nothing to worry about. But sometimes late at night, I do hear her crying. So the trucker said, hey, little one, before you go away, what's your address? And then he said, oh, okay, I'll give you my address, and if ever you pass him down my street, please stop by, just to show me your truck. And he said, sure I will. So he took his address and he called his boss and he said, the freight I'm carrying just has to wait because I've got something bigger and better to do. And he drove straight down to Jackson Street. And as he took that turn, there were 18 trucks already there which had surrounded Henry's home. And one by one, they picked him up and took him for a ride. And as one brought him back, another driver took him away again. Until Amy's dad got his chance to take him. And he had such a great day, he brought him back, And he said, well, your mom's going to be home soon, so you better be there. The truckers drove off, and Henry's mom came back, and she said, wow, tell me all about your day. And he said, I've had the most fantastic day. Oh, almost 19 or 20 trucks took me for a ride. And so his mom got on the line, and she said, for all you truckers out there, I want to say thank you, and especially to Amy's dad. You have just made my little son's dream come true, and I cannot thank you all enough. So Amy's dad said, hold on a moment. I wouldn't have known this, and I wouldn't have been able to do it if my little daughter didn't tell me to keep the radio on. So why don't we make our two little ones meet? And so they agreed, and the weekend came by, and Henry's mom took him to a restaurant, and they got there first, so she seated him at the table. And then Amy and her dad walked in, hand in hand, and Henry's mom said, I'm so sorry, but for the way Henry's dressed, because he's not dressed like really well, and he can't get up to shake Amy's hand. And Amy's dad looked at Henry and said, the color of his hair or the clothes he wears plays absolutely no part in Amy's sight. Amy's eyes are blinded. She only sees with her heart. And as Amy's mother took Henry home and put him to bed and tucked him in, she prayed to the Lord to give her Amy's sight instead. Thank you.
My last song had just been sung. The little church grew quiet as the crowd slowly filed out into the stillness of the night. I turned and saw this young girl clutched to her mother's arms. She said, 1 minute of your time, please, if you're not too tired. She said, my name is Amy. I've been blinded since my birth. I've never seen the beauty God placed upon this earth. But He gave me a way of singing, and tonight, right from the start, as you began to sing your songs, I saw Jesus in your heart. When Amy looks upon them kind, she never sees the color of their skin. Her only concern is where they go, not where they might have been. Yeah, the length of the hair, the clothes they wear, in Amy's sight that plays no part. You see, Amy's eyes are blinded. She only sees with her heart. Later that night, I tried to sleep, but Amy was on my mind. The faith of such a young girl I've not seen in my lifetime. There by my bed, on bended knee, in the darkness of the night, I prayed, oh Lord, please hear my prayer? Would you give me Amy's sight? When Amy looks upon mankind, she never sees the color of their skin. Her only concern is where they're going, not where they might have been. And the length of their hair, the clothes they wear, in Amy's sight, that plays no part. You see, Amy's eyes are blinded, she only sees with her heart. You see, Amy's eyes are blinded, she only sees with her heart.